we're back. Team Spirits and Avangar having a, as James put it, turbulent map 1. It was very difficult to see which way it was going. We had Team Spirit having a very dominant portion, Avangar having a very dominant portion, and just when they seemed like they were unstoppable, steam ran out and Team Spirit were able to clinch it in the last few rounds of cash. And now we go to Dust 2, and it's hard to say which way this is going to go.
Yeah, I think this will be a more comfortable map. I think it's a simpler map, and that's good for these two teams at the moment. So we will soon see, just waiting for one person to connect. I don't think we're really in a position to say who is likely to win this map at all. I think it's just up for grabs basically, but it's you know, one of these teams is taking map advantage in, and the last map could have gone either way as well. It's all just could go anywhere really. I don't know that this is remotely predictable.
No, I don't think it really is per se. Especially, I think it's like very map by map with these teams, because as we can see there, you know, Avangar, they picked cash. Absolute struggle. What was it, like an 11-4 first half that they conceded? They had 4 rounds in the first half. Then they switched to the T side, and we're like, oh, okay, now we can see why they picked it. They had loads of comfort, they had loads of rounds, loads of drills, and they had, you know, they won 8 of the first 9 rounds, so it looked really good for them. So they could see why they picked it, but then, you know, but their CT side was kind of appalling. And that's kind of like the problem, is that now we move to Dust 2, and it really feels like, okay, which is their better side, and, you know, what do they have to bring to the table there? And this is obviously Team Spirit's pick, and a lot of teams have been leaving Dust 2 in the pool, yet we have also seen a lot of limitations to some of the levels of tactics from teams, you know, missing flashes, missing Molotovs, to certain set pieces that are required to do them effectively, you know, when we cast our minds back to when Dust 2 was played every series before it was removed from the pool. So lots of work to be done, but this is fun at least, you know, AWPs, open terrain to fight on. It's always a good time. I
like that your cup says Twickenham on it.
Oh yeah.
See on the front.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's cool. What have you made for yourself?
It's just coffee, isn't it? It's just.
Yeah, but it looks like you put something in there. It's not black, is it?
Well, it's not black. No, it's just some splash of milk and.
It's coffee with milk, then, isn't it?
Yeah. White coffee.
I have coconut water. They have a big fridge. I wish you guys could see the room that the players have available. It's like a giant room. When between maps we run off to play pool.
Someone nicked the chalk. I just want to say, why would you ever take the chalk? It's completely useless for anything but the queues. It's made specifically for the queues. It belongs nowhere but the table. So why would you? Why? Dude, how can it go missing?
When I was in college, people were so tight on money, right? Yeah. That, like, during the break, whoever was the last person to win the game on the pool table, they would take the white ball with them so nobody else could play unless they played them when they came back at the next break.
Oh my god.
That was literally North London colleges for you.
We also had, do you want to talk about the meat and salad incident?
Do I want to talk about the meat?
The meat and salad incident.
Oh.
in the players' house.
Yeah, so there's like dinner, there's like various... It's not. Is
like
it,
a salad
is it
bowl.
Like a buffet?
Like
I guess it's technically a buffet.
Yeah, it's like.
So there's like what was the meat?
I forget. It's some like meaty thing.
Yeah, it was like a big big chunk of meat stuff, right? And the guy's like, he couldn't find the ladle, right? So he's like, there was a salad, just a salad next to it. It's like, okay, I'll take the one from the salad. And I was like,
from
what?
Inside the salad,
just like, I was like, what, dude? What are you doing?
Then put it back in the salad.
The ladle, yeah, the ladle's like right there. Why
meaty.
are you putting the salad thing in the meat thing? What if you're a vegetarian? You just like you've got this ladle covered in like a lasagna or something. What's wrong with you? He's like, I was like, oh, sorry, man. It's like, the thing's right there. It's just behind the bowl.
Like, there's a spare ones and everything.
And then he was about to put it in. I saved the salad at least. Then he put the meat one in there because the other one was untouched. So he grabbed the meat ladle and put it in the clean meat ladle and put it in the salad ladle. What are you doing, man? Like if you're, but I just feel sorry for that.
Meaty salad.
If you're doing that, what are you going to do on the server? If you're putting the salad ladle in the meat,
it does.
How are you going to hold the B-bomb site?
It tells a great story, doesn't it? It tells a great story.
What kind of coordination is that?
It's maybe it's the guy that.
That's wrong. That is so wrong.
That like maybe put the chalk in the salad as well. I don't know where the chalk went, man.
Where is the chalk? Hashtag where is the chalk?
Oh man, because the queues we're using are very, very poverty, and it's getting pretty bad now.
They're prison queues.
Prison queues, yeah. Well, so we're into the match. Team Spirit on T side, Avangar on the CT side. Do we have any shenanigans? Lots of nades here for Team Spirit. They are going to be peaked by Demasic, perhaps. Just trying to get some information here on middle. And that's very painful. Get out of there. Don't know if he can make it. Somehow he is alive. Ooh, oh my god! Trying desperately to avoid cratering. No cratering for him. And Team Spirit will be pushing the A site.
James doing what he can. Oh, Sundayang is good for the second kill. Marvelous stuff for his team. But Avangar are keeping it competitive. The bomb has been planted. These two players don't have a kit. Perhaps there is one to collect. Sundayang and Coldy remain all about the headshots. Coldy crouching. He knows this about the headshots. And now he's gone. Sundayang versus 2. He can't fall back too long because I don't think the bomb is planted for him. And he doesn't have the range. And indeed, Avangar will avenge their teammates and win the round. Marvelous stuff for them. You can see the squares by the scores to indicate who is leading. A full square means a map win. An empty square means you haven't quite got the crayons for the job. You ain't got the crayons, mate.
Crayon. Okay, so just some pistols, as expected. They have obviously got the bomb down, so not a massive investment. So they are ripe for the taking. I am sad that I'm sad that we didn't see a 2-3-man rush mid, honestly, in a situation like this. I think that is a big opportunity wasted, but that's just me. I'll take any excuse to rush mid. There we go. There we go. Davkos on 1 HP. It's the... Oof. I think that was actually a double of 1 bullet. It's actually always so depressing when you go down to like... It's actually really interesting because there's this interesting effect that I think teams don't think about. When you have like 2 players that say on a pistol round that get dinked, and you know CTs, and they're like down to like 5-10 HP or whatever, they still like hold the same setup sometimes, but those players are actually useless. They can't peek anything, and they can't actually play the positions correctly. And I think sometimes teams, just because those players are still alive, they don't consider that in the way that they will set up. But here comes the A case. Here comes the long take. Ooh, that could be good. Oh, it's fantastic.
Hello, goodbye. Another grenade towards blue, just to be sure. And Team Spirit, what remains of them, forced to abandon the position. Jay may hear them moving up to the short area. He certainly would if he was... I think he does, because Dima is instantly repositioned towards the plateau, so I think they did get the sound cues. If you're on the left side of blue, or the B side of blue, if you will, then you would certainly hear it. Sound is so important in this game. So they've seen one of the players. They've seen Davkos, but they haven't seen Sundayang, who is currently on the ramp. Now he's been seen with the AK. Do they want to force the issue? There is one flashbang on Buster, but he is not in position. As you can see, all his teammates on long, but the guns will do the job. A nice third round for Avangar. Team Spirit holding the L to the chest. $2,500. They'll have to wait for their time. It is not now. It is not yet.
Pistols. Still no mid-rush. God damn it. Anyways, I'll get over it. 2 players long for Avangar. They will give up position short. Very usual. Now repositioning from Demasig. He's going to have to hit some one-taps. Pop some heads. They haven't made their way across yet. I think they may have missed their window. They were spotted. And the best opportunity to plant on the A site really is... Oh, Demasig having a bit of trouble here. Going down to 30 HP. Needs some assistance. Prison will deliver that assistance. And they're actually getting some kills somehow. And they will get the bomb down as well. So this has gone very, very, very well for them. And see the push come to an end. But killing the bomb plant is much more than you can expect. Typically like the short rush is a really good way to get a plant. If you have like a couple grenades with it, it's very difficult for the CTs to stop it, just because of the way that the positioning works for the CTs at the start of the round. Unless they have big presence on mid, that you can't sort of stop the Ts getting up onto the sites from shorts. It'd be cool to start seeing like more teams double nading as the CTs, the short position from double doors at the start of the round. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe Astralis.
Double. I tried to talk while I was holding my cough button down. I don't know why I was holding either. What a weird start to the day. That's better than yesterday, though.
Yeah, yesterday was... I had more energy, but I also...
I don't know what you were on yesterday.
But I just... My brain was put in the wrong mode.
I don't think it was turned on.
Yeah.
Short flashes will allow Team Spirit to safer advance into that position. Dima playing the goose position, so Jane will need to bait for him. Can Spirit identify where these players might be? Buster is taking a more forward position in B. Coldy's going to walk straight into it. That's a huge frag. Coldy loves himself some opening kills on the T side, so that's an important one for Team Spirit. 1 minute mark. Sorry, for Avangar. 1 minute mark for Team Spirit now. 4 AKs on Avangar with FACEIT. That is nutty.
Flashbang for key cuts. Oh! Oh my god! Not only does his teammate die on the bait, he dies as well.
Seems he was trying to reinvent the wheel. Maybe he has slightly more cover from a flashbang. I don't think so though. But apart from that, obviously in the corner is the usual CT position, and it's strong. It's really hard to kill the CTs there. You have advantages, but it seems he went to play another angle, baited his teammate, and then did not trade frag.
Yeah, that's like the thing. You have to think about it like, what am I trying to achieve with this setup? I have to make sure that if they peek, I kill them, like, because they have to peek deep to take my teammate down. This is classic bait setup, but you don't let your teammate die. That's that's the only like difference. So you have to adjust your angle so that they can't get the angle on your teammate, and obviously you're in a spot where they can't just take first contact with you per se. Like, if you see what I mean. I'm not sure if I can explain that better right now, but I'm sure everyone knows what I mean.
I almost wonder if he even knew that the T could peak like that without him even seeing him at all.
Right, of course, yeah.
I mean, if he didn't, he knows now. An expensive lesson.
Yeah.
That's given Spirit away into this game.
Oh, hang on. It was Sotfig that actually killed the guy through his double doors. They peeked it at the same time, so it wasn't actually the guy from window. Oh.
Well, fair enough.
But he was very deep out of the window. He was actually shooting his teammates still, so
he was.
he was gonna, if not him.
He's pretty deep, man.
All the way deep. Double ops though for Avangar, and in a short Team Spirit win that round with a fast timing, but ooh, okay. Well, they will get a equalizing kill, and that's going to be tough for the CTs. Oh, that smoke is not going to be too helpful for Demasig. Oh, he's in a very, very bad spot. He can't really take good fights here. It's going to be tough. Teasel around him. Maybe he can be sneaky, but I think they are aware that there's 2 CTs down there, especially after that Molotov was thrown.
Prison's moving in from long to support. I think he's confident that no one is going to be there anytime soon, or maybe his teammates just need more help. That's a great headshot onto Sotfig. 2 players waiting for the entry. That cost advances. The timing just doesn't work out there for Prison, and that leaves Buster alone. 1 versus 2. AK collected. Grenades being deployed, avoided. He does have a defuse kit. He doesn't have any help. He's looking for the second player. Dima, he'll soon spot him, but misses the first bullet. Dima won't give him a second chance. Prison has almost $12,000. Money can be spread. And the second AWP, as well as the first, will be out once more. But this is all of Avangar's money on the table.
Mahoney's no kill on the cross. All the Team Spirit looking for might just be a default. CT shutting them down for any early aggression with smokes. And indeed, Team Spirit, they can actually. So this is an interesting part of the round, because generally speaking, on the T side, you kind of want to understand if there's a CT playing middle or not, because otherwise you can. If there's not a CT playing middle, it's very likely this 2-3 kind of setup, and this 2-3 setup's quite strong at dealing with set pieces on the A site, but it's very weak against B splits. Very weak because the rotation is so huge, and so if you see that there's no one in middle, on the right side towards CT spawn or keeping tabs on you, then you can pretty much safely assume that there's 2 playing the B bomb site. And so then you should be going for a B split. That's like the basics of how you should know which round to run from a default like this. And they haven't tested mid too much, but looks like they figured out that the B split's good.
Raw peaks. I like the second smoke, so if anybody's boosted on the box, they can't see over it. Buster punishing Team Spirit for these just open peaks. That's why you don't do it. That's why you see T sides drop a smoke there. I mean, with how narrow the tunnel is, maybe he gets kills anyway, but it made it easy for him.
Yeah, it was the perfect bomb site to pick. It's perfect to pick it as a split, or choose a split strategy. But it's just that, you know, a couple of details on the execution. That's what we were talking about before, you know, seeing some teams like understanding the right things to do, but they don't have the right utility to back it up. Because that should have been a really crushing B split, but oh, hello. It's gonna just gonna get knifed there. Deny the plan as well.
Nice.
I have to say though, Keycut's timing to peak window was really good.
That was huge.
That was really nice. It was really nice.
He looks like a gangster in another life, plus 5 to 7 years. Keycut. It's got that menacing look.
Judging by Cash, where Avangar had a poor CT side and a strong T side, I wonder if they have a strong T side on Dust 2 as well. Dust 2 is a very friendly map for T sides. Like, you can have really strong T sides on Dust 2, especially when you get control of the economy. And in Team Spirit right now, unlike Cash, they are struggling on their T side. So this doesn't bode well for them. They need to figure out a better way to approach this. It doesn't give me great confidence though that they didn't have the right nades for the B split, because, ooh, well, they're just going to go for a rush. There you go, there's a smoke.
There's a lot of things going into the B-bomb site. There's a counter flash, and Keycut is devastating them with support from Buster as well. 2 frags, both of them, and the bomb falls like a present from a tree.
There's a ball. Oh, is it going to ruin his save, James? The ball. This is the time.
Yeah.
But the CT's on hunting him, which is smart.
Does he walk into the football?
It is interesting though, like, because if you look at Keycut there, he looks completely different in how confident he is and how good he's been on the B side compared with CT on the A bomb side of Cash. He was playing else on Cash, and he was really struggling to get kills when the teams were pushing in the side. Like, he really struggling. But here he looks like a completely different player. Do you have any maps like that yourself, James?
I'm equally excellent in all maps. On the CT side, I find Mirage is difficult on A. I find that to be hard to defend. I think B bomb sites are often generally simpler.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird how that's consistent.
Yeah, I mean, but generally, I think, like at the level I play, a lot of people don't know how to play mid on Cash, for example, or I end up playing the position I think my team will be the weakest at playing, essentially. So I can play most positions on most sites, on most maps. Well, most positions on most maps, but I try and pick whatever I think will be the weakest link. Or the most, well, I suppose, yeah, the weakest link, like the one that'll have the most impact if it isn't played in at least a reasonable fashion.
Yeah, yeah.
If you put someone who doesn't know what they're doing, it's like when you're in football in school, right? And you've got like the slow fat kid, and they like put him in defense. And it's like, no, you put the guy up front. Otherwise, they're going to score all the time, right? So you put him up front, and then you might score, but you're much less likely to concede. That's where the smart money is. I always put the guy up front. He has a fun time. No one's angry at him. You win matches because he's not like the slow guy in defense and getting exploited.
Where did you play?
I was ahead of my time in school, man. I played in goal.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I
was a goalie, yeah.
I played, for some reason, even though I was right foot, I was always put on left defense and also midfields on the left wing as well. And I was like, guys, I'm bloody right-footed. Why are you doing this to me? But it kept happening. But I was quite good at the defense, though.
I used both my feet. Numbers game here for Team Spirit, trying to make their way to the site. Again, I mean, this is basically the round you mentioned, about trying to get the bomb down, but they've got the Molotovs there to buy time for the CTs, but the bomb will get planted by Dafkos. So
what is odd though
achieved.
is that they're really successful at just walking out with PT50s, and it's because the nades sort of aren't there, and the like requisite weapons aren't really there, and so they are reliably getting that bomb planted there. So it would be cool to see an adjustment from Avangar to prevent that. But if it does, I mean, if the money's not helping them, I guess then it doesn't really matter, I suppose.
Yep, they're reliably losing rounds as well. So
that's one way to put it.
Yeah. Right then, that bomb plant allows Dafkos to get the AWP along with his team having the 4 AKs and a bunch of grenades. A 4-man investment in the A bomb site, and look at this. 2 people making a way through mid doors, but James somehow gets back in time to cut off one of the players. Sotfik though catches Buster by surprise, getting past James' angle, one would presume, and that's a B bomb site taken now by Team Spirits. Avangar with 4 players going towards long.
It's really weird because after James got that kill, they didn't rotate anyone. They still had just 4 just chilling on the A side of the map. It's going to be an interesting retake. It should be difficult for them. There's still a Molotov there on Team Spirit that will be tossed, I think, presumably to the window. Yeah, I think so. And
oh boy.
Good smoke coming. Oh, is that CT smoke?
I think it's a T smoke. They can boost behind this at the very least. But they're just going to run in raw. Okay, after the first frag, you know the guy is at the back boxes. Boost over the smoke.
Okay, there's a lot going on that round that was a bit weird for Avangar. Like, firstly, if you see a guy run out mids at like 1:35 of the round or whatever, like super fast timing.
What is this, man?
James is so mad. You can't just sit on the A site with 4 players. You got to assume that if one guy's out with that fast timing into mid, he's going to be doing something with his team, and it's not just like he's not just gone he's not like a maverick just doing his own thing. And
why do they run in 1 by 1 instead of just like 2 guys, 1 left, 1 right? If they're gonna run in, at least do that. It's like, okay, you go in. Okay, he died. Now you go in. All right, he's died. All right, I guess I'll go in now.
Yeah. I don't want to be left out. Everyone's doing it. It's cool. It's a cool thing. Yeah. But then the guy on the B side also, after James frag, has to make a decision. He either has to like hold against 4 players, or he has to push outside the B side or into tunnels as well. It's a rough spot for him, and let's give it a nice extra round to Team Spirits. A much needed round too, but now they're going back to sort of slower round. They go for the A split. They got long. Ooh, nicely done by Dima and Sotfik, just winning the battles around. Long still James around the short position though. I don't know why I'm saying long. Oh god, don't do that. Keycat doing some good damage. He's got to do a lot of damage now, though. There's one. Oh! Keycut! Almost! That was so close.
That was a much-needed frag, and not getting it leaves Buster alone versus 3. There's no money left for Avangar. There was an old arcade game called Point Blank. There are 2 different games called Point Blank, but the old arcade game was a gun game, and you would shoot various targets, and it was like being in a fairground, but it was really awesome.
Was it based on the movie Point Blank?
No, that's the other Point Blank.
Oh.
This Point Blank is just arcade games where you would shoot targets or plastic ducks or other things. It was really awesome. I think it was on PlayStation as well, but that round where Avangar ran through the smoke, I feel like that was Point Blank. If you look it up on YouTube, Point Blank arcade game, it was such a sick game. It was really like one of the most awesome shooting games in an arcade. Need to re-release it on... Do they even have light guns for consoles anymore? Yeah,
I was thinking that the other day actually, because we have Time Crisis here, one of the 3 entertainment options for.
Yeah, it's Time Crisis arcade machine in the player lounge. It's awesome.
That is pretty next level. James going for the short push, just alone. Ow, up. AVP, depending on your region. And Buster will push long. They got to be aggressive. They got to do stuff. It's difficult. It's a hard life. It's a life of few opportunities, of missed opportunities.
It's a bit grim.
And they are all, Team Spirit will slowly push around short, making lots of noise there. And the bomb's going towards the tunnels. Are they going to split B or just go all tunnels, I wonder? Split B is very viable in these kinds of rounds. You just have to have the Molotovs or the flashes. Like, I think usually a pop flash is probably better for the doors. You can do it from top mid. And then once you've done that, dealt with the close position, it's pretty easy after that. You know, you've got the smoke onto the B split smoke on CT. Now they see the rotation. Now they should realize, okay, we are super safe on B. Well, they're in B, so life's good for Team Spirit right now in this round.
Operation hold down James AWP.
So this feels like that first half, doesn't it, James? Where, it feels like Cash, where it's such a struggle for Team Spirit. It feels like they're getting absolutely wrecked. It feels like there's nothing that they can do that's consistent. And then you look at the scoreboard, and they're about to have 5 rounds to the 7 of Avangar. So it's pretty good going, actually. Like all things considered.
Yes.
It's very weird how the feeling I'm getting from the game doesn't match up with the score of the game.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you that.
Yeah, there's just no words there. My analysis is...
Alright then, let's see what the Vanguard do. Dima's bought immediately. Will they prioritize rifles and have next to no grenades? The answer is yes. One player has... Okay, 2 players have flashbangs. Okay, 3 players have flashbangs. Alright then. I was going to say, those flashes came in late. I was very curious. 2-1-2 set up from Avangar. James supporting Prison. Avangar will be very happy that there's been no fast challenge to long, because they don't have the gear to deal with that. Flash over the wall from Kika to suggest that the CT is further back, and Dima is close. He sees the dome, but the spray isn't there. He does no damage whatsoever. And Kikert's gone. I like the gap in the wall near the door. On the right-hand side of the Molotov, there's like a gimmicky position you can take, which gives you some cover. Don't see it used in professional matches, however. Let's keep an eye on the control of the bomb. Sotfix just picked it up. Got to be careful throwing the bomb on the floor in a short position, because it can be telling depending on the time. Often you'll find the CT and CT spawn, you will hear that. But they're running out of CTs to hear anything, Avangar. Just eating bullets at the moment.
Yeah, this is like Cash. This is like Cash, isn't it? It's so similar in that way. Obviously, the scoreline not exactly the same, but now, like after such confidence and in the routine, we see Avangar being fairly lost in their approach. But I think at the same time, you know, they've done so much better, Avangar, on this CT side of theirs, that I really think that they are going to be completely fine into the second half, or playing into the second half, I should say. Avangar with a good amount of rounds already, and they can absolutely get a couple more. Of course, there will be 2 rounds left after this. However, I say that, but they're unable to save these guns, it seems, and that's a problem. That is a problem. They have $2,900 here for a loss bonus, but with no player surviving, they sort of need a save. And by sort of, I mean they need a save.
Sort of need a bit of a save.
They sort of need a bit of a little save over there.
A little bit of a save.
And that means that maybe they aren't going to be able to make that 9-round reality. It's perhaps 8 at best. Can't really stress enough how hard playing just pistols is on this map of CTs. We shot him in the backpack. Backpack bleeds.
I wonder what's in the backpack.
Those
thermos.
The backpacks are huge, aren't they? They're actually quite huge.
They're big.
It makes sense, you know, I guess.
You wore some Was it Kevlar?
Yeah, it was Kevlar, but the Kevlar had it was what they use, I think, in the U.S. military right now, and it had ceramic plates in it. It was incredibly heavy. It felt like it was at least, it had to be at least like, it had to be like 15 kilos. It couldn't have been 10. It felt a lot more than 10.
And that's before the backpack.
Yeah, and that's before the bloody backpack. That's probably got 20 kilos in there as well, at least, of gear. It's incredible, the endurance that they need, especially then if you add on top of that the conditions are usually quite hot, presumably. And so it's absolutely incredible, the endurance required, like the mental fortitude required, because that's often what endurance half of the time is mental fortitude. We
didn't try to shoot you while you were wearing armor or holding a book.
Rather grateful for that. Especially
maybe we should do that.
The type of weaponry they had there. We didn't release anything yet, did we?
Not yet,
yeah,
no.
So I can't really. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've put some teasers here and there. People have seen a flamethrower and
the ceramic.
An MP5.
The Kevlar wouldn't do much for me against the flamethrower.
What else did they show?
I wonder if you could cook something with a flamethrower, like one burst, you know, like. I guess that's really, it would be very burnt on the outside though. I
remember there were two types of fuel for a flamethrower. Jet fuel is one of them.
So that's crazy, isn't it?
And we used jet fuel. The other one I don't recall what it was. But when they twist the knob to prepare it, it's very, you just think like it's going to explode. It's worrisome, let's say.
I'm really curious about jet fuel, like now that you mentioned it, like the different types of fuel, like I'm really curious about how that works, like what.
If you're a fan of fuel, tweet DDK Esports.
Tell me the difference between jet fuel and other types of fuel. Cheers. I will probably just Google it myself, but that's a really good test of your theory that there's a specialist for everything that follows you at this point. The fuel specialist, jet fuel specialist.
Yeah, when you get to 100k followers on Twitter, there's always someone relevant to any interest you might have. Helicopter pilots, tree surgeons, people who work at auctioneer's house with clocks. It's crazy, man.
That's awesome. Okay, we've got short control for Team Spirit. This is the last round of the half, and finally Avangar off the pistols, and they've got the double ops back outs. We have don't have the best amount of utility remaining, but it's enough considering that they have AWPs. Just the mere fact of having an AWP on a bomb site forces the Ts to throw more utility, as they have to break positions that you're holding to gain ground.
Teamer makes his way into CT spawn, but James will be a problem once again. He is trying to make his way to cut off the mid to B, and he's doing a good job of it. Keycut picks off the last player, and Buster once again makes it look easy. Although in many rounds it has been hard, but this occasion, Avangar will get that last round of the first half. Pretty tight at the moment.
I like the round though from Team Spirit. It was a good B-split attempt. You know, it's the classic where you drop someone from short, and one of the beauties of that opening is that it really does look like you might be trying to pressure short. So if your team is harassed long previous to that, it does sort of raise suspicion to an A attack, and then you drop into behind a smoke, and then with a flashbang, and all of a sudden you backstab the guy that could be. Who was it that we saw do this round really, really well? It was, I think it was Rogue. I think it was Rogue, I believe. Yes, it was Rogue. Where Sick actually like silently dropped into the smoke in CT, and no one knew he was there. It was really well executed, the timings of it. So I liked the round. It just wasn't the executed as perhaps well as they might be able to. And 8-7 to Avangar. Are you favouring any of these teams, James? Where do you lean?
I have no idea who's going to win.
I'm going to lean Avangar. I'm gonna go out there and suggest that they will likely have a T sides that is as good as their cash one. Although that was only, well, they still didn't win cash, so. But still. I think we're going to get 3 maps out of this, but we'll see. Team Spirit starts off with a nice headshot onto James, but in turn they take 2 dinks, which is a problem.
Busters left on long. All Glocks for these 4 players. Looks like they're interested to see what's going on long, these CTs. A 3-man push. 2 of them are heavily tagged. That's a nice shot on the first player. So now the T's know that, well, at least one person is long. They might not know that there are 2. Who will this favour? They've got to be really careful. Davkost is in the red. Coldy peeking. Can't quite hit the shots, though. You see him resetting constantly. Having another go. Now Dima's going to stay in the short position. It's down to Kika to try and plant the bomb. And he will manage to do that. Dima coming back, but where's he going to go? Jumping down into the slope area. Sophic and Dima coming from short now. So they've compromised that position. They hear the movement, but Dima is very exposed. Will he be the initial engager? Doing great work here. 2 headshots on these players, I think. Both in the red now. Such an awkward retake here for Team Spirit. 1 bullet for either of these players. Oh, Davkost, he was so close. And now we really have a duel. Time is not on Davkost's side, though. He's got to find this frag quick. Dima realizes that, trying to hide as much as possible. And he will get that 1 bullet down first. Avangar win the pistol.
Lovely stuff. Avangar get that good start. They're going to get economy control. And I look forward to seeing how their T rounds are developing and, you know, what ideas they use, how it's executed. And, you know, it starts off with dealing with action. Ooh,
hello.
Hello. Indeed, that is a great start. I was about to say that, you know, Team Spirit, they haven't invested fully here. They've actually left a bunch of money in the bank, seemingly.
In the back.
Coldy only buying a Deagle, only a PT50 on Sotfig, and Dima also did not spend anything. And that's actually really encouraging to me, because I feel like this is one of the maps where you just don't want to really force buy as a CT. So, like, it's just not worth it. You need the AWPs, you need the utility on that first buy round. And it's like, who cares about this round? Who cares? Do you care? You don't care.
No.
You care about the AWPs. I care about the AWPs, they care about the AWPs. Get some AWPs. So, because you have to be, so, I think, like, what is your opinion? Do you agree with me? Like, it's so hard on the CT side with pistols, right?
I agree. I'd make 3 or 4 gimmick rounds.
Yeah, that sounds good.
With HE grenades
yes.
or something. Let's say 1 person on the corner of long. Well, I mean, assuming, I don't know, I think if they're going to go long, maybe the T's, do they go long immediately or do they go long delayed? Because if they go long delayed, you could have like 1 person on the corner spotting and then 4 people by a plateau with grenades just bouncing in the door once the first person engages, or some nonsense like that. Light investments,
yeah, make
it a fun round.
I think I would probably do something like get someone who has the money to drop a scout to the guy who plays the AWP, and then everyone else just buys like PT50s, 4 PT50s, and guy with a scout. So only 1 guy has compromised money, everyone else has really good money. Just for the threats of the scout.
Yeah, we don't want to give up everything for free and give T's lots of money to keep the pressure up.
Yeah.
Shame opting to fall back, not wanting to face the ire of all these CT players, but unfortunately for him, he will be lost. Subdian picks up the Mac-10, but in the meantime, Dima is running distraction towards the B bomb site. He can spot through the door and tell his team to go A. Prison will escort Kika towards long, busted by the car position already, and Dima's just making bank on the B bomb site. Now Subdian can opt for money-making situation. He doesn't really have the range for these duels at all. But I suppose he wanted to catch somebody off guard or try to win the round, which is fine. He could head towards long and try to play the corner near blue. Maybe he can get 1 kill. Avangar, though, heading towards long now. Getting in position to use that range. I do think it's the plant which makes it very hard to defuse the bomb. Get back to long. Nice spray. He won't know there are 2 players there, though, but that grenade is absolutely perfect. It's beautiful to see, unless you're a CT, it's like, I'm going to die now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do.
Just that, like, that 1 to 2 seconds of knowledge that there's nothing you can do.
Realization.
You can still press some buttons. You can shoot your gun if you want, but you still know.
Hurtling towards the floor, thrown out of a plane. All you want to do is take somebody with you, and you can't.
So we can see the benefits of Team Spirit's frugality. Being frugal.
Yes.
The frugality. Because we have the double ops out, the M4s, they have a decent amount of nades at the start of the rounds. And there's one kit on Someday Young. And one smoke left. Now the double ops. Like, the positioning here is pretty cool. It's you know, the 2-1-2 with emphasis on one of the ops sort of having a deep peek on short. That's quite nice. Because the T's, like, by having the AWP presence on short, not only do you get an opportunity to frag, you punish the T's if they don't use nades correctly to take short, because you get a kill. If you don't get a kill, and you know, you just show presence, and then they have to use more nades. It just slows them down a lot on short. Ooh, that was a big chance. And again, that was a and again, from Avangar, there was no flash there from Avangar. That could very well be a kill.
45 seconds. Davkos still with angles towards short, although the short situation can quickly change. Krizen and Kika, are they offering a fake towards the long position? You'll see how Krizen hugs the wall to avoid a double peak situation from the CTs. But it will happen anyway. Now, got one entry towards the bomb site, and there's another one. 19 seconds remain. There is a smoke for Jamin. Deema still in the mid position, but he's going to rotate to join his teammates on the site and defend from there instead. 3 versus 3 retake attempt here for Team Spirit. Oh, close.
Ooh, close again.
He's behind double stack. Otherwise, all those shots are on.
Jame by the big box, and it's a good position, especially now that they have short tunnel control. Don't have to worry about your flank. Looking for the headshot, but Team Spirit, no grenades yet left to bust in there, and their money sucks, so rightly backing away with 3 guns. That does allow them to have a buy next round, but the problem is that Deema and Sotfig will have to buy for themselves because the loss bonus... Oh no, actually no, they've, of course, what I'm talking about, they have a great loss bonus, so they can actually drop rifles. And they can have full nades, but they have to drop FAMAS, I guess, so that they can buy nades.
That was looking like it was going well for Team Spirit, but perhaps the action towards A distracted the players towards B and allowed those entries to come in from the tunnel. But yes, it's traditional. If you have T's walking out, they will hug the wall, because sometimes you'll see a player on the ramp engage first, on the long ramp, and then once he starts shooting, his teammate pops out from the corner. So if you're further back to the wall, it makes it harder for the CTs to go for that double peak, which is why I see that's something to bear in mind at home.
So instead of going for FAMAS drops, they went for M4 drops, and that means that the Davkos and Someday Young cannot buy nades themselves, which is why I was hoping for the FAMAS, because I'm just a fan of max utility, personally. But that said, you know, if you're not good at using the utility, then screw it.
Yeah, Davkos not having flashes is a problem, because if you have your sniper around that car position, he often needs to flash for his teammates. But as you can see, they went for an aggression, didn't hold it for too long.
It's unfortunate because I think okay, this is the flash I was talking about. It allows you to clear close. You can clear close right with it too, but yeah, as you say, like, they actually had a chance to get a frag there, but sort of messed up the jump, unfortunately, and then missed the timing. And this is about the regular timing, like between 1 minute and 1:15 is the usual timing in a default. The T's will take short, and it's fairly consistent in most rounds. The Vanguard's setting up for a B split here, so I'm curious how their harassment will work. Ooh, Davkos! Another chance gone. Another chance missed.
Can't miss a shot like that. That was square on, but he started strafing first. We all do it, but you can't do it, even though you do. Won't miss a second attempt though. Buster now, does he head towards the short position? Jame will be coming in. They're all in the same position really. Kika, is he going towards long? This is a massive gamble for Avangar. Only 2 of their players. They have no grenades, no flashbangs. I, of course, just saw James' head. He double scopes in. Beautiful stuff from him. And there is Buster. The bomb will be on the radar. Did he move towards the site? Coldy is in position Team Spirit will not fear this retake. Kika is still top mid, leaving his teammate to die on A, and is now heading towards the site. So it seems he does want to try and win the round. Really think that rotation was needed a lot earlier, otherwise perhaps just save the gun.
I'm curious too with how that worked, because we saw Dima6. Obviously, we see in a couple missed shots from Davkos, he backs away, and Dima6 takes like that as a cue to just run out. Like you see that he's so far ahead of his teammates, and then they also had 0 grenades left by the time they were attacking into the A site, which again it just shows you that. It shows you sort of, there needs to be a cognizance that before you take a bomb site that you have grenades to do so, generally speaking. As a T site, you have the ability to do that. As a CTs, you're at the mercy of how well the pressure is, how good the pressure is from the Ts. It forces you to use utility, but the Ts can use utility at will. Oh, look at just so many CTs here on the short position, and Avangar go for the long rush.
Yeah, but it's weird. Avangar have 4 players on long. And, I mean, there's just a lack of coordination sometimes. Avangar have 4 players on long, 3 run towards A, and they leave the bomb behind them. And James is covering long doors, and he has to go and pick up the bomb and leave long doors because they've all left the bomb. And he goes back and throws it to them and then goes back towards long. And that's kind of... It's pretty basic stuff, and it doesn't affect them in this particular round, but I think that is more telling of perhaps a wider issue for this T side. And going up, like, let's say they... Actually, just focus on this for a moment. Those are some very important frags for Avangar to hold on to this. Davkos on his own now.
Oh,
he doesn't have time. He does not have time.
That was a really interesting round too, because again, you have to think about the situation. So by the time they've gone through long, they had, I don't think they had any grenades left. They had like 2 grenades.
Yeah, they barely had any grenades, yeah.
And so, and everyone had bought AKs and stuff, and yet they have. So if you imagine that this is a normal round, Team Spirit don't actually take a risk and pile into short as they did, and they have like, let's say they get a couple kills there, and they get, and then, or maybe they fall back onto the site and slow the Ts down with utility. The Ts now all in a position on long with 0 utility, and if they want to cross onto the A site, they have to go through this, through crossover with 0 utility. So it's another spot where you see the end of the round just doesn't seem to be well thought through. Just using a brute force to try to just make it work. But sometimes you can't get that triangle into the circle. Piece, square, what? You know what I'm trying to say. Triangle hole.
Triangle hole. Marvellous. Team Spirit dropped a smoke through double doors, which would suggest a low tunnel play, which is why the 2 players who went towards B stopped in their tracks, and they will not commit to that position because they could be pinched from entrance to B and lower tunnel. So they have essentially conceded to being funneled into a different direction. Is there a pot flash here? Because otherwise, surely he gets 1 kill. Sometimes though, he's going to get 2. It seems Avangar will go for the trade situation, giving Team Spirit minimal time to react. However, they have 3 players towards long, Team Spirit. Be really patient with that. 5-7, oh, the last guy's the bomb. Once again, James has been entrusted with the bomb, and now it's in a exposed position, and the flanks coming in from those players on long. This is falling to pieces for Avangar, but they still have good weaponry. Oh, as I say that, 2 AKs are collected. Surely there'll be a push through this short smoke. 1 player CT, and there's an insta-trade. That is a very unlikely round from Team Spirit, and basically the smoke in lower tunnel, so the smoke in mid, just compromised the positions for Avangar. They felt compelled to push into where Team Spirit essentially stacked, since there was no challenge in lower tunnel. And then they got the round.
No, I have nothing to add. I have nothing to add.
Maybe a flashbang would be prudent after all.
Yeah. Well, onwards and upwards. It's really weird actually, because I actually felt like, okay, Avangar, they've broken Team Spirit, now they're just going to win the game. But that lets Team Spirit back in again. And we saw this happen at the end of Cash. But that was in a position where Team Spirit had a really good first half, and around this position, it was the scoreline was a bit different. Team Spirit were only 3 or 4 rounds away from winning, I think. And here, you know, they're much further away, so 7 rounds for them to win. But obviously, absolutely doable. They do get the full buyouts, and they may have a sour taste in their mouth. So this is again a very predictable round. So you've got 2 players looking for this now. The T should be very hard for them to get the bomb down. No utility in the open. Got the AWP, got the rifle. There you go. This is more you know, how it should go with no utility. Again, you know, what you will often see, and what we'll start to see as teams get more used to this, is you might see 2 grenades there, you know, a flash and a smoke. There'll be like a smoke sort of. There'll be a smoke basically on around the plant spot, I would imagine, is where most teams would decide to use it. And then you perhaps would get like a run boost on the first player, trying to force the AWP to miss the first shot, and then the other players can, you know, run and get, you know, gain a lot of grounds. You get close to that smoke, and then you just get the plant, and you're pretty much covered for the short plant, and boom, you got the money. So then that's just like, you know, 2 grenades that can really improve the likelihood of you making that play work. That is a very minimal investment for a huge return of like $4,000, you know, across, you know, cumulatively across the whole team. So you know, there's all these small tweaks that you can do to make, like, if you have like a good flash and a good smoke and a run boost and a well-timed movement from a team, it can completely change the look of a round like that. So Avangar, you know, 13 to 10, they get the buyout again, and we're going to see no utility. I'm actually angry now, James.
I guess they feel with the how open Dust 2 is that the rifles have higher priority.
No, James.
But then they need to demonstrate that to us. I mean, if they're going to make a play into the B bomb site, then use the grenades to get close quarters. Drop a smoke at the front.
They get, it can't be like this.
Fortunately for them, no one has the angle from the back box this time. The Molotov is going to cause giant problems though, and yeah, it seems having no utility makes life difficult.
Because this is the thing as well, like,
we've seen this a lot as well on multiple maps, where it's like buy the M4s, then see how much money you got left for grenades afterwards.
It's really bad fundamentals.
You should go and see if Sun Young has a grenade. Take a look.
Because what it suggests is that teams are not working hard enough, because the amount of edges you can, like, so you can look at it from this perspective. If you have no utility and you have to get successful on dry peaks, and the other team can, you know, pre-nade certain positions and shut them down for long periods of the round, or they can use flashbangs, or, you know, you're walking into setups and so on and so forth. Like we just saw on B there. On B, even Team Spirit, they didn't even have a great defense there. All they had was one guy with an AK who just sprayed in there as they were trying to bunch for a choke point, and then an incendiary. That was literally what stopped the push. It was almost nothing. And so what utility does is it gives you options to play a full round. And a full round means that you can find a lot of different spots for the AWP to get a pick. You can find a lot of different spots to take positions away. What does taking a position away do? It forces a CT rotation. What does that do? It pushes pressures CTs to use more utility. It pressures them to make plays. You know, you create opportunities, you know, things for you to do. But if you have zero utility on a map like this and just a bunch of choke points and just hoping to win a dry peak, you have no options. You have no good options. So then you have 5 people bunching in upper dark, waiting to go for a choke point, and then all dying to one Molotov and one guy with an AK.
At what point were they going to explode onto the site as well and run wide, etc.? I mean, they walked through B tunnel and still got stuck at the end of B tunnel, which is impressive, especially when the Molotov is thrown in reaction to the first engagement. So there was a cheeky pick from James, but they want more than this. Avangar keeping the numbers intact again. I mentioned the importance of being able to swarm afterwards. They need those numbers alive. Sun Young will be close long doors at the moment, but he may not feel compelled to push just yet. But as the team advances, Avangar that is, elsewhere, perhaps a flank will come. Now Davkos has the AWP. There are 4 flashbangs here for Avangar. Now, I don't think anyone is in position to hear the footsteps that they made, so this will be quite the push.
There we go.
Molotov in a short position to try and stop the bomb from going down, trying to force them to face him, and now everybody's stopped. Yeah,
you want to smoke for that, but they only had 2. Look at this. Oh my god, this flank. They are respecting the single AWP way too much. Ooh, dear. Okay, Sunday Young was very slow there because of the calls, I think, from the AWP. High flash. Does this work? A bit too high perhaps, but still the M4 is doing a really good job. Really good job. See, this was much better from Avangar. You know, they've created a chance to win the round. They've got a bomb plant. They've got a lot of damage. James can do this for them. Looking for the heads. Oh, the flick comes in, but Davkos is a little bit better. But that's a much better round. And what they had there was 2 smokes and like 3 flashes or something. They flash off the AWPer. You know, one of the spots you would probably want the smoke is you can preemptively throw the smoke for the site to cover the short plant, and that sort of makes it sure that they can't Molotov you and delay you as they did as well. So that was much better from Avangar. You know, with a bit more forts, that round is going to be even more dangerous. And now they've got the 4x out again. And Team Spirit coming all the way back here. They are 1 round away from tying this with Avangar. So we've got lots of utility for Avangar. James goes for the pick on long. Gets flashed off by the CTs. Very good flash. Forces the Ts out of Longhouse.
Dima and Buster in B apartments. B halls, rather. Keep getting mixed up with Mirage. Coldy slowly moving up the CT ramp. Nobody in mid for the time being. Coldy has 1 flashbang, and he uses it to have a look at what's going on towards long. Sees nothing, and Sundayang will move closer with a smoke in long doors. Now, Team Spirit, are they trying to anticipate a play towards the mid position? Coldy's back in the middle area. So it seems Spirit went for some basic info to try and bolster defenses elsewhere. Davkos is in a position where he could jump down onto ramp if he had to deal with a mid to B play. There are the smokes being deployed, so we'll see if he chooses to do that. Coldy charging through the flashbang. He spots 3 players. Davkos has got to jump down. He can defend the door. Very patient shot from Sotvic. Plenty of players going towards the window. And Davkos makes his way through with the deagle. But that it looks like a successful round for Avangar.
Yeah, much better. Much better. Not perfect, but much better. Like, that looks like a proper round there from them. Good use of utility. Good use of counter utility from Team Spirit. They made it really difficult with some of the flashbangs, but you know, that's the power of the B split. Is, you know, you're isolating 2 players away from the other 3 on the other side, and you try to like crush those 2 players within the timing that you have before the other 3 can reinforce. And it looks like this, and that's going to be problematic. Avangar go to 14 rounds, and there's not a huge amount of bank here for Team Spirit. They can buy with save of this AWP, considering Dima and Davkos' money. But I believe that will likely be the last good chance for Team Spirit to make this work potentially. Obviously, Avangar, if they win this round, they secure an overtime at the very least, but I like the timing on that play, you know, throwing the flash in, you know, it worked pretty well. There's definitely a world where I forget which player it was, whoever was trying to frag out from CT spawn, where he actually gets 1 or 2 kills there. And that then suddenly makes the rounds very interesting.
Sundayang and Coldy towards long. They've taken the area for now. Going down to the wire once again between these 2 teams. With both teams on the bye. Don't know, do Avangar have it in them to take this one over the line? Pressure seems to be an issue for both sides in the late game. Not sure if that smoke on the low ground was supposed to be there. Either way, Kika gets a big headshot. Coldy not sure where to look, and he's going to start to fall back. But Sundayang is moving forward. Can't really support him. Got to be really careful here. But he will lose the duel to Kika.
I wonder if you stand in the smoke that was a little bit on the low grounds. If that allows you to sort of peek but obscures your head as you run by or something. Because that might be a thing, actually. That looks kind of cool. Is that a thing, James?
I don't know. I imagine it's probably supposed to be up high, yeah, to just get past the sniper angles. But I mean, with the first smoke, you can also, an option is to just throw flashbangs towards the slope which would pretty much take out every possible angle repeatedly.
Good rounds from Avangar.
That's an expensive one for Spirit.
Yeah.
And that's game point, and that money is pretty bad. Good entries from Kikert. Even with low HP, still hunting towards the end. Knows he just wants to give his team the biggest advantage moving forward. But Davkos still has a sniper rifle. That will prove very important. Or could.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very winnable. We see that every round is winnable, no matter what you have. As you know, there has been a tendency that you can see a mistake roll there. But I like this start from Avangar. They've got 4 smokes left. They've got a bunch of Molotovs. They've got long already, so that's a good position to work from. The CTs will find it difficult to do too much. They have flashbangs though, so there is an opportunity to make plays through these smokes. And Davkos with this AWP, actually A is looking difficult to break. Team Spirit have a good chance here to hold this, but that is a brave push from Krisen and a much needed one. What a gap. Oh my god, that's enormous.
And now they're in position. Cody's been waiting for the flank. Never know if somebody's top mid, but now Jaime is in position there as well. Subdang with the scout, trying to be a hero, but we're asking a lot now. 2 versus 3 is still doable. Jaime could get caught unawares. Inviting Coldy to... Oh, he's getting caught with a flashbang. And now it's Sotfik versus 2. And he's going to be unable to do it. Jumping frag. 16 to 12 for Avangar. We are going to go to a third map between these two sides.
Yeah, indeed, it was another, again, I'm going to use the word turbulent, your word from the previous, the end of the previous map. Another turbulent map for these two teams, but Avangar, indeed, they do tie things up. No idea where this one's going to go, but we're going to find out after the break.